I just want to tell you a little bit about myself. And I need to show you my family because we're pretty cute. They're cute. I'm not the best representation of my family, but my family's really cool. So I love showing them off. If we can do it, I am not. Okay, so when I was in school, my mother was sick a lot of my life. I was not supposed to be born. The doctor said, you'll die if you have another child. My mom had 2 more, right? Back in the day. My kids learned I was born in 1969, my 2 youngest, they're still around. What? Is that over a century away? Like, you were born a long time ago, Mom. I'm like, all right, it's not that old. I feel like 85 is the new old. But anyway, like 54 is certainly not old. I thought I was 53, but I'm actually 54. It's kind of sad. But I just didn't have a lot of help growing up. But I was really determined to be a cheerleader. I was a cheerleader, and I needed a 3.0. So I went from teacher to teacher when I'd get a 2.9 or whatever, and they would just, okay, if you clean the room or if you do this, you can get some extra credit, right? So I learned that I could network and talk to people and help them. There were some people that I would call educators without heart, right? And one time I had a really cool experience. I was gonna do the best English paper that I'd ever done in my life. And this, I'm sure you guys are all younger than me, but I had to use a typewriter, okay? That sounds really old, but I had to use a typewriter, and I decided to use different colors of paper on the report, and I wanted to make it really special, right? So I'd get a good grade. So I put them in little plastic folders. All these things probably are normal for nowadays because we're a little bit extra nowadays. We do so much. But I turned it in, and the teacher turned it back with a slash across it. Every page. At the first page, he was like, oh, fun. Then the next page, slash. And then the next page, slash. And then he said, see me immediately. And I was like, what did I do, you know? And I was doing my very best, my sweet little, you know, oh, this is going to be so fun. I copied a plot from another plot of a book. And he said, do you know what that is? When I went to see him, you know, do you know what that is? Does anybody know what it's called? Plagiarism. And I was like, I'm going to go to jail, or I'm going to, what? What's going to happen to me? I plagiarized. You know what I mean? And I never wrote another paper. I was just a failure. I was like, I can't do this. I still kind of wonder if I can do it. But I don't worry, because I know that I'm enough and I can do whatever I set. This is my cute family. These is my 7 bunch. They're older than that now, but I just think that it's really important that we teach and we help our youth and our teens grow into who they need to be. And it's okay if you get a teacher that tells you, you plagiarized. You know what I mean? Right? But I didn't talk to my mom about that. So I was so embarrassed that I plagiarized. You know what I mean? But I talked to my mom about all kinds of things, but not that. Education was completely separate from my family life. I didn't have a lot of help. I'd come home from school. The ambulance was in my driveway. You know, she made it till I was 25. But anyway, I learned to advocate for myself. And that's the biggest thing that I want to do. I want to teach. And I'm not going to tell you any secret. And I don't make you pass the ACT. I hate the ACT. I pay my kids to not take the ACT if possible. It's just, if you're really good at taking tests though, go for it. But if you're not, don't force yourself to do that. There's plenty of other ways, right? I think it's really important that we teach our kids to love learning. They need to love learning. My older kids had holes in math a little bit because I wasn't teaching math as well as I should. But when it came time for them to be a scholar and for them to take hold of their education, I have 7 children, and I have 2 left in high school. They're at Lumen, and all the others have master's degrees. So it's not like I'm cool and I'm not brilliant, but we just started early and we nailed it. You know what I mean? They nailed it, but they loved it. They took charge of their education. This is another picture of the kiddos. This is my triple combination, the top 3. They are the ones who all have the master's degree. Joe, who's hiding in the corner right there, is the first student that went through Lumen. I took all of my kids through early college at the regular public schools, And I was just like, we're going to do this. And I would, my husband's first semester in college was when we got married. I told several of you that today. Whoa, several of you that today. Okay, and he got a PhD. And my oldest daughter with the glasses, she was like 14 before he got out of college. And I was like, this is not happening to my kids, right? I'm doing this early, And so I've been trying to do that early college for a long time. They all did it. I know that a lot of you know that I work at Lumen. I don't know if you know that. They asked me to help start their early college program there and kind of pattern it after what I did with my youth. Because we're homeschoolers, we're famous because we got early college, whatever. We're not really famous, but it was really hard to do that in a school system who made you do this and this and this, right? So it's a charter, it is a public school, it's free, but they wanted me to help them create a program that did that. So what's really cool about it is that we used to go to UVU and we used to get the tutors there to help us, right? And the tutors would help us and we'd have to drive back and forth. Anyway, we've patterned that at Lumen so that we have teachers, we pay double what they normally get paid at another school, and they teach our classes and they tutor our kids too, okay? That's beside the point, but the reason why I need to do the entrepreneurship and the apprenticeships is because as soon as my kids were done with all their general ed, they're walking on that campus having to know what they need to do, right? And I didn't do as well with the older couple kids, but the younger kids, we're starting to do like, what do you think you want to go into? So my daughter, the one that's just right next to the boy right there, not the glasses, but the other one, her name is Emma. And I will show you. Hold on. This is Emma. So Emma is a lover of dogs. She loves this dog, right? This dog came into our life miraculously. We're dog breeders too. Some of our kids wanted to breed dogs, so we did that. But she really wanted to cut hair of dogs, right? She wanted to be a cosmetologist, and she wanted to be a dog groomer is what it's called. And so we went and we asked a dog grooming facility, could you let her bathe your dogs? And have you guys ever gotten your dogs groomed? They hate bathing the dogs, right? The people hate bathing the dogs. Yes, your daughter can come and bathe the dogs. That would be great. In fact, we'll pay her. Good. Okay, let's do that. So she came in, she bathed all the dogs. She did a great job. She learned how to cut because they started seeing her dedication. She learned how to cut, and then she learned how to, work a little bit of the business side of it pretty soon. She started grooming dogs. Then she had her own dog business. Then she had her own salon. She did that for a little bit, and then she was like, I think I'd like to pursue something else, right? So she pursued something else, and she did something else with her time. But the point was she loved what she was doing. She loved the animals. She wanted an opportunity to do that. How many of you know what your children like to do? Yeah, you're homeschoolers, you definitely know. And you know what you like to do, right? What do you like to do?
I make things.
You like to make things. What kind of things?
Anything from cups to weapons.
Out of wood or plastic or?
Anything.
Nice. That's very cool. So for you, I would say, I have a little form. It's super, super, super complex. Just kidding. It's really easy. Because most homeschoolers will look me in the eye and talk to me as an adult, right? I don't know if you've gone into, and I don't want to bash, and hopefully not a lot of people hear this that are not homeschoolers, but it's so refreshing to be around homeschoolers that talk to adults. The kids, if you walked into a store if you walked into maybe a woodworking facility, or if you went to even just your local high school and asked the teacher there, he'd probably fall over backwards that you know how to articulate yourself so well. Hey, I really like to make things. Can you teach me some things? My daughter takes a woodworking class at school because she loves woodworking. She decided to make a stool for her to sit on so she could play her instrument, right? She's really good at the saxophone. So she comes home, she's working on math figures to make the dimensions on this chair for days, right? The teacher's like, wow, she's in junior high, but she's making the dimensions to this chair. You know what I mean? It's really about following your passion. It's following what you like to do. And then you, as a parent, being an advocate for that, right? But You don't have to always be the advocate because you've got baby, or you don't always have to do the work, right? We teach the kids. And another thing, you don't have to go to Lumen, but another thing about Lumen is that the teachers are constantly interacting with the kids, and they have good mentors. They have good mentors. They have good people that will tell them, hey, you're really good at this. You should, give them ideas. So I recommend, because my kids would start on their college, they would kind of sometimes be upset with me because they would have all their college done and they wouldn't know what they wanted to do, the older kids. So started with the younger kids. My son knows he wants to go into medicine. He broke his leg with an ATV. Someone took him up in the mountains, and he'd never ridden an ATV before. And he calls me, he's like, Mom, I broke my leg. And I immediately, whatever you want to say, was inspired, call 911. I guess his leg was pretty much flapping in the air. Anyway, he went to lots of different doctors. His leg rebroke again because the first doctor didn't do it right. Just all kinds of things. But now what does he want to do? He's actually thinking about being a surgeon. And he wants to go, this is Joseph. He's right. Sorry, I'm not really, oh, there he is. He's always kind of been interested, but even more so now. So, and he is my first Lumenite that actually went through Lumen. I was telling somebody about him today. When your kids are younger, make sure that they succeed at stuff. His success, make sure that you support them in succeeding in something good, right? I was actually arguing with somebody today about the ACT. I just can't stand, I think it's good if you take the ACT if you're really good at tests, if it's your thing. If not, don't take it. You don't need to take it, right? We don't want to set people up for things that they're not going to succeed at. It's okay if you fail, though. You don't want to pad their life so they never fail at things, but don't keep making them go back and back and back at the same silly little English paper that I plagiarized, you know what I mean? So I'm just going to use ChatGPT to introduce myself, right, from now on. I'm going to put in a couple things and then it says beautiful things. My husband thinks that's kind of crazy sometimes because he's a professor at BYU, but I don't care, right? It's okay. It's just, we can't be everything. We need to narrow down kind of the things that they're interested in and then give them the opportunity to do that. So it starts young. What are they good at? What do they love? What looks interesting? Youth need to be good at something. It builds your confidence. Point out the things in the world. Help them see solutions. So what do you see? What do you see and it needs to be built? Or what do you like to do? What are some of the things you like to do?
I'm a soccer player.
Soccer player. So what in soccer would you think? Do you want to go into soccer? Do you want to be a professional soccer player? So what has to happen to do that?
I'm gonna have to join other advanced teams,
So you're going to have to do that. And how do you get on advanced teams?
tryouts.
But what do you do before that? Should I walk in and try out for an advanced sports team? What do you have to do to get on an advanced sports team?
Practice.
A lot, right? So how could you figure out what to do? Where would you go? My mind is thinking, so, would you go to another soccer player that was really good? Go to a coach? And what kind of coach? Yeah. And so I'm going to go through a couple of questions that you could do with that coach. Okay. So maybe for you or any of your older teens, and I have a worksheet that's prettier than this, so write your name down and I'll send it to you. But pick 3 fields that you're interested in and do the following. So you network and find 5 people that are good in the field. So you find 5 soccer coaches and you find 5 manufacturing companies, an engineering company, right? Because you're an engineer, probably mind. Do you like math? Not quite yet. That's okay. Because if you like engineering and if you like building things enough, you'll figure math out. And you can get a mentor that will help you with that. You can do this by networking the top, what is top profit? Profit or nonprofit companies that specialize in the area of interest. You can ask around for references for people who are in the profession that you are interested in, okay? So you're gonna talk to soccer players, you're gonna talk to soccer coaches, and you're gonna talk to manufacturers, you're gonna talk to a woodworking company. My daughter at school has a class right now. She just does a couple of electives. She came home with a thing of plastic, right? You like to build? She came home with a thing of plastic and she just melted it and she was supposed to build something out of it. So now she's built a little fake sword. She built a banana. Her name's Anna, and Anna Banana was, the doctor said, oh, Anna Banana, when she was a baby, you know. So just, she's made stuff. She's learning how. If you don't know what you want to go into, but know of a general field, ask for specific degrees and jobs in that field. So, like I said, I already kind of jumped to that. Like, you could even do exercise science if you want a background in something like that. You know, do you know what exercise science is? It's just the body and how it works and how can I make it better, you know? You can, you know, like I said, engineering, different things like that. By the way, this little teeny formula, there's this man, I wish I would have written his name down. He was teaching at UVU, and he charges $15,000 to come and speak to somebody. I don't know how I got it, but I'm a hound dog. I got his phone number, and I was talking to him. This was the form we made from him. $15,000, and he just answered my phone call. It's like, this is cool. So, and nobody follows through with this, by the way. Hardly anybody does. So if you do this, you're going to be dynamite. Your kids will be dynamite. I'll talk to your kids if you want me to. So get them excited about it. I wasn't a cheerleader for vain purposes. I mean, this is working out for me because I can cheer people on really well. So my kids make fun of me because I was a cheerleader, but that's okay because they're really, anyway, it doesn't matter. Okay, set a time that works for you for both. Meet in a public place, and these are a few questions that can get things started. What do you like about what you do? Okay. What industry credentials would help me be attractive and competitive now and in the future? Extra space. Where can I go as a hardworking intern to gain experience in this field? And what degree would make me the most competitive in the area? Okay. It's just a really important thing for us to know that we don't have to just take, that we just don't have to take other people's word for how to be good at something, right? So my husband and I, we went from 5 grandkids to 11 in 1 year. We had like twins that were born at 21 weeks or like a pound, I don't know, just really small, maybe 23 weeks. But we've gone through a lot. This is Matthew, our oldest grandson. He loves to garden, and he loves to help Grandpa in the garden, right? And so we're talking about all kinds of things. We're talking about, you know, what it takes to plant a garden, how it plants. We're gonna, you know, we're sparking his interest. We're not forcing him. We're not making him do anything. But eventually this could turn out to be something pretty cool for him. He might really want to go into that, right? I'm gonna show you this one really quick. So my daughter, Alexis, she's the oldest. When we were younger, we lived in Salt Lake, and we went up to This Is the Place Park, and we volunteered. And I had all my babies, and I was just like, we're all in Pioneer outfits, and they asked us to be in Pioneer movies. And one of my sons was some kid named Sparks. He never wore shoes, so they made a little documentary about him. Anyway, we did a ton of stuff for some reason during her era of home, being home and in my life, in like the Pioneer era. We just did a lot of it. And it was kind of strange, you know? But it turns out that she became a major history buff, you know, and that she also went on a mission for her church in Nauvoo, which is ancient, like history type stuff, right? And she had to dress up like that on her mission, and she was used to it, you know. My son, another one of my sons who has the bachelor's, oh no, he was on a mission there. Okay, the tallest one, he made film. He made documentaries of our school, our home school. We had a great big dresser, and it was upstairs on the second floor. And I was like, we got to get rid of that. You guys take it downstairs. He's like, I think it's too big. I said, well, I think you should just like axe it up then inside the house and take it out, you know? He thought, cool, I'm gonna make a documentary. I'm gonna video this. So he videos it. They came in, they were like, they had their pants like clear up to here and their belt super tightened, and they're like, hi-ya! And they just started, you know, and they were like, hey, you shouldn't do that. They were just doing this whole video thing. He just made like $6,000 last month, and he's grown up and he has a business degree and a master's degree, but he just made $6,000 off of social media because he's hilarious and he makes really weird videos. Super weird. If you look at Helperly, it's actually not weird. Helperly is not weird, but he works for a company now and he's his social media marketer and he makes podcasts, right? And so my biggest thing, and am I making any sense? Does anyone feel like this doesn't help? I feel like the biggest thing you already know. You're homeschool moms. You know what your kids need and you know what they want, right? or you need to let them get to the point where you are not the ones driving the reins anymore. You're going to get to the point where you're going to share the reins with them in the front of the wagon. And then if you are smart and a good mom and you're not bossy and you don't control them, you'll be allowed to be in the wagon as they continue their journey. Okay? And so just find what they're good at. Help them discover what they're good at. Some kids are super hard on themselves and they don't think they're good at anything, right? Well, don't let that sit for very long. Make sure that they get out there and explore. Expose them to good things. Shut off the computers, shut off everything that distracts everybody from living real life, and help them grow into who they need to be. So anyway, I think that I will send you, if you guys want to, send me your email. I can send you that worksheet. I have a prettier worksheet from that $15,000 guy that I had the phone call with. It's super easy, and my kids have tried it. And it works, and they're blown away. People are blown away. My youngest daughter, I wish I had a better picture of her. She's just this little one right here, but she's the teeny one in the middle. She's actually almost 16 now. This is one of our kids. They said they don't normally let these kids climb the post, but she wanted to really bad, so we had her do it. And she's super athletic now. She's really good. Anyway, this is Anna. She's almost 16, but she's hilarious. I thought all of my kids would be this way, where she's just talking to people a lot, like people would talk. We want our kids to talk to people, right? And find things out and network. But she'll walk in and she'll say to the poor clerk, she's like, oh, that clerk looks just so miserable. She'll be like, how's your day? How's your day going? How do you like your job? You know, you're doing a good job. I just want you to know that. And she'll be playing tennis and she'll just like slam somebody and win them. She'll like, that was a good game. You know, you had a good shot right there. You know, just kind of teaching your kids to network, teaching them to talk to people. And I can't tell you exactly, you don't need to go to a regular school to get an apprenticeship program. You don't need anyone to tell you what to do. If your kids, how many of you have a specialty? Do any of you love anything specific, any of your moms? Like?
Poetry.
So you're a poet. And do you love to, what if a kid came up to you and said, look, I've written 75 poems. Can you help me? What would you do?
I sure would.
She'd be like, oh my gosh, yes, I can help you. You know, I would love to help you. And there was another meeting that I went to, and there was a bunch of people that wanted to help, right? This one guy worked for Disney, and he wanted to help kids in animation, right? You have to be careful though, because you don't want some weird person helping and creating a relationship with your kid that's not that great. So don't just like turn them over. But he has helped one of my family members tremendously, just with those simple $15,000 questions that guy gave me. You know, it's just simple. It's not anything, and it's something that I learned as a young child because I was left to myself to make things happen. So I'm going to just dig right in. You know, my boss calls me a bulldog. It's just like I'm going for it. You know, and go ahead.
I have a question about kind of age range.
Yeah.
You know, we were trying to volunteer, and people didn't really want anybody to volunteer until they're like 14 or something.
Okay.
So kind of just what age range for those positions?
What kind of things did you want to volunteer for?
Oh, we were like at the animal shelter, Thanksgiving point, and things.
Yeah.
They were more like business things. But it
Yeah.
sounds like depends on the personal
I don't know why the animal shelter wouldn't want. Would you go with him?
Yeah.
Well, why would they not want you to come in?
We ended up being able to do that.
Okay, I was like, what?
Yeah.
They always need people.
Yeah.
Also, justserve.org, have you seen that? They have a lot of businesses on there, but it wouldn't be up everybody's alley. But you just have to the kids can also keep looking. This isn't like a religious talk. I'm not talking for Lumen, but you can also be very intentional about where am I supposed to be? And then people will come into your life that can help you with that. You know, just know that, I mean, I always tell my kids when we call BYU, because some of them go there to school, I'm like, you can't just call one time and get an answer. You got to call like 50 times and get the right person. Ask again. No, you didn't get what you wanted. Okay, well, ask again. Well, you didn't get what you wanted. Well, then ask again. If they're tired, let them wait a month to ask again. You know, just ask again because you'll get there. All right, you didn't get the answer you wanted. Find somebody else. Yeah.
So you identify the jobs and the degrees that are relevant to the field that you're interested in. Then you identify the people, 5 people or
If you have 'em.
boards, right, that you can, talk to. Can you explain what your experience has been like with the conversation, right? So
Yeah.
you bring someone up. It sounds like you're cold calling them,
Yeah.
out of the blue.
Or
How does that
emailing.
conversation usually go?
So let's say, let's take, I don't know, should we take one of these? I'll do the dog one with my daughter with the dogs, right? So she probably called 5 or 6 different places, actually went into the places, brought her dog into the places, right? I really want to learn how to cut dogs. I've heard, groom dogs. I really want to learn how to groom dogs, okay? And they're like, well, I'm sorry, you need to go to the da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da and learn 500. First we researched, how do you get a license to do that, right? A little bit. And then it was, you can go to Petco, right? We heard that Petco wasn't like, I don't know. Anyway, we heard that Petco has a very rigorous program, but they don't really come out that great. So you got to find a good groomer that will let you apprentice with them, right? Okay, we got to find a good groomer that will apprentice. We would go in and ask, that was a no. Go in and ask, that was a no. One lady was like super bothered by me, and she was like, this is a really lame, she said to Emma as she went in, this is a very lame job. She doesn't want this. This is just for trash people like myself that don't go anywhere. You know what I mean? So you get the idea that you don't want to be with that kind of a person, right? And so you just get a little bit of information. My daughter so she just kept asking and finally found a place that was referred by another place. And this lady, and then out of the blue, she saw on Facebook someone was renting their studio. So she was able to learn how, wash dogs. You just got to keep going. There's no perfect way to do it. You just don't give up. But you also, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but you're also very prayerful about it, or you center yourself, however you do that. You ask the universe, whatever you do. I ask God, what am I supposed to do for this child? What does this child need? What do they want? Have you guys ever seen The War Room? Oh, I love The War Room. She has like prayer notes up, And again, I'm not representing a school. I'm telling you as a mom, you will have knowledge of what they need. The kids will know what they need, what they want to do. They shouldn't be forced, but they also should be inspired to do things that are hard. So if you want to create things, you might have to learn more math. So how can I go to a math teacher that really helps me understand math? I had math teachers that were so lame, I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. But then I had math teachers that I knew exactly what they were saying, and they taught me. Keep moving until you find it. You don't have to do these things minutes after minutes after minutes and be crazy and run faster than you have. It's just that you will find little packages of what you want to do, and they'll come, and they'll be around you. You just got to watch for them. Did you have a hand over here, somebody? Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to say, my son just put something on Facebook, on
Yeah.
like our Heber City, whatever page, and put his picture and said, I want to learn film. And we had probably like 30 people reach
That
out.
is so
And
cool.
he got an amazing internship.
Yes.
Like, how easy is that?
Yes. And your son articulates, and he'll go and get that, or he'll rent that camera, or he'll do the work that they give him. And you know how often it is? I had somebody talk to me yesterday, and he said, I'm a puller, not a pusher. And I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, I'm a puller, not a pusher. I'll pull people up to understand, but I'm not going to push them, right? And we need to remember that as parents, especially homeschool moms that do everything. We're your math teacher, we're your science teacher, we're your this teacher, we're that. At least that's what it was before my kids turned to be a little bit older. But I want to preserve that relationship with them. I want them to be able to come to me when they really need something. So who cares if they get a college diploma? Who cares if they get a high school diploma? Who cares, right? It's good, and we should do that. But we need to inspire and kind of require, but not force. And we need to make sure that they have opportunities for success and that they don't quit in the middle of it. Yeah?
You've touched a little bit on the college
Yeah.
route of your kids. Can you, in a nutshell, kind of just share how you combine the two?
The college and the apprenticeship.
Like the internship and like how you think it's best to do that
Yeah.
together in the shortest way, the best way you.
Okay, I'll try to do that a short way. If your kids have good mentors while they're getting college work, if they feel in control of their education, and then as they move forward and as they make those crazy videos that are super, super good, you got to put that out on social media, or you got to ask for anybody who's interested in film. You're just kind of at dinner table. You're just kind of, as you're driving, you just know what they like, right? My daughter wanted to do the saxophone, because we got one. Do you guys know what 1-800-GOT-JUNK is? They gave us a saxophone. And so she started playing the saxophone. Right now she's super good. She actually just texted me while I was in here. She just made the high school highest jazz band, which was impossible to do, right? But they heard about her dedication. She might not be the best. She probably is if you're listening to this, Anna. But I don't know. But she's determined, and they love her determination. So the best thing you can do for your kid is don't squash their spirit. Don't squash them. Don't tell them that's never going to happen. Like I had a friend tell me yesterday that her son wanted to be an NBA basketball player. He's never going to be, an NBA basketball player because he's not that great. But they worked really hard, They worked really hard, and in the way, they found other things that he could do. He became a coach, So I don't know if that explains it. I'm just saying.
So what I'm saying is, like, you said your kids got done with college really early.
No.
Oh, and then they didn't know what they were going to do because.
There you go.
So what path did you take that you balanced the two? Like you
Yeah.
did community college, you did courses.
So they did college while they were in high school. They did early college in high school. And then they had to choose a bachelor's degree. And so the bachelor's degree was hard for those who had no idea what they were wanting to do, right? But we just at that point started talking, what kinds of things are you thinking that are interesting? Then we would have them talk to those people. We would have them talk to the degree, the college. What are the classes? We would read the classes. Then we would say, how many people actually get jobs in this field? What kind of, we would usually start with the end in mind. We'd start with the job that they wanted, or kind of, and then we'd move backwards. So, but my daughter ended up being an environmental scientist, and she thought she was going to be a music therapist. So, but it's just, it's not going to be, the biggest thing is you're not going to tell your kid what they're going to be. The biggest thing is you're going to support them and you're going to believe in them. And you're going to keep helping them, hound dog, smell it out, sniff it out where they need to, give them opportunities that you think, or help them find opportunities. Yeah. Yeah, or you can let me just have you pass this around. It's really not going to be rocket science, but I'm going to send you those questions from the $15,000 guy. And here's a pencil. I hope that inspires you. I hope you know that you know best for your kids, and that there's nothing better than having a mom who believes in you. There's nothing better than that. And if your kids are fighting you about everything, then I don't know what to tell you. Just love them. Take them to lunch. Find something that you do have in common with them if you're working on your relationship, and then kind of move to just be a part of their world in a place where you don't have to have contention. I know teenagers sometimes feel like you're bossing them around. My kids told me, I hate the way the world says teenagers are rough. That's ridiculous. You're setting us up for failure. It's true. When we say teenagerhood is hard, it's not. My oldest daughter gave me what for on that one, so we never went there. Okay. My husband teaches a class at Education Week if you ever want to go. It's on parenting, and his specialty is moral development in youth. So that's really good. More kind of the same philosophy. So. Oh, you're nice. Thank you. Do you guys want to put your email?